And we are live. Good evening. This is lesson number 3. I think so. 4. 4. 4. Lesson 4. It's the fourth lesson. Yeah, it's the fourth lesson. Yeah. Number 3. You think 3. The first lesson was 1.5 hours. The second lesson was 1 hour. And the third lesson was an hour. And now we're the fourth lesson. Okay, doesn't mind. No bother. Today I sent you all a link to my Dropbox folder, and I want to share my Dropbox folder so you can see what is in there and how to use that. So let's go to share, and I go to my Dropbox folder. As you can see here, this is chapter 1, and in chapter 1 you see the video 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We skip that one. This is a song. This is a copy of the textbook, and what you find here are the answers to the questions. So if you go to the Dropbox folder, you find what they call homework keys, the answers to every exercise, or most of them. I hope this helps. So of course you study the best when wait, oh sorry, go away. Oh, you study the best when you don't look at the answers before you start doing them, of course, only to check them out. And as you might notice, the homework from lesson 1.8 are without the vowels because we haven't studied them, so you don't know how to read them. These are just the main Hebrew letters. So when you see over here, kun je het groot zien hoor? Nou, maar zie je dit ook? Uitvergroot? Oké. You see comma LP with a line under it, so that word is Aleph. That's the easy one. Zayin, Derech, with a K. Beit, Gimel, Ayin, David, Pe. So this is the answer key. When you go to chapter 2, you find here the vowel instructions. This the videos, all 4 of them, 5, 6. Then a copy of chapter 2 in the book, the vowel chart in PDF form, and the homework, the answers to the homework of session chapter 2.10, paragraph 2.10. So you can find the answers over here. And this continues if you go to other, here's the homework keys in chapter 7. There are also additional exercises, but we will talk about that later, but there are additional exercises in it. I've sent you all a link to the Dropbox folder, so it's best when you prepare yourself to go to the chapter that you want to study and then look what files there are in, because you won't get a marker or a message when something is changed. This is the best way because not everybody has a large Dropbox folder or Dropbox store capacity. So if I would really share them completely, you will get all the content on your computer. And that is not always the best thing to have. So because not everybody has a big account to have a lot of space in Dropbox. So all the lessons are here. So the first 6 lessons, my experience until now is that when we have done all these 6 first lessons, you have a good basic understanding of Hebrew, and you are capable of reading something from scripture. So it will be a good basis, and we do our study speed is, I think, good. If you want to slow down or if you want to speed it up, please tell me, or in the chat box or whatever, or repeat something. That's no problem. We study together and we go in the pace that everybody can understand. In the end here, at the bottom, you see another, it's in Dutch, Oefeningen Hebreeuws, exercise Hebrew letters. And when you go here, you can, when you print this out, you can, this is a writing practice. So when you want to write the letters, you can practice it, you can print this out and you can start writing all these letters. And when you go, this one, practice pages, and all additional information for the Hebrew letters. And this is the book. This is Key Supplemental Exercises. This is interesting because this is the red book I showed you. So when you go to chapter 1, you will find here the answers, if I'm correct. Yeah. So in this document, you will find the answers for this book. I hope you can see me. Supplementary exercises. I will put it answers to supplementary exercises. So when you see this document, you will find all the answers to the exercises. When you have the book, when you have the red book, and you do the exercises, you find the answers to that exercises into this document. It's under exercises. All right. Any questions about the use of Dropbox and how to get there if you open the link? Normally when you open the link, it will open up in your browser and you get a complete inventory of all the files and folders that are there. And when you have a Dropbox account, you can see upstairs at the top a little button, download to my Dropbox. If your Dropbox is big enough, you can download the complete folder, but it will not be refreshed. So my suggestion is to download it folder by folder. When we go to chapter 3, download chapter 3, because I will take care that it's as accurate as possible before we start the lessons. Hi, Donald. Nice background. Okay, today's lesson is important. And as Leonard said, it can be difficult to understand, but when you have a good understanding of how the vowels work and what different kind of vowels there are, you get an understanding of the Hebrew language and how all these little signs above and underneath the main letters are. Because originally the Hebrew language was written without any vowel clinkers. So it was all consonants. All the consonants were there and there were no vowels in there, because if you in your own language write a word without the vowels, your brain knows what word it is because you are trained in that language. So what happened was that everybody who spoke the language could read it, but in 500, 600, 700 after Christ, and everything that happened there, people couldn't read the biblical language anymore, because the language was not used, the old language was not used to communicate in normal life. So people will get loosened or got some distance to the original meaning, and they simply couldn't read scripture anymore because they had forgotten what vowels were in there. So a group of scholars came together in about 800 after Christ, and what they did, they introduced a system where they could represent the vowels so that we could all read the text. So you have text with vowels and you have text without vowels. They both exist also in Bible Hub. So when you go to Bible Hub, you can see the Hebrew translation with and without vowels. What the Masoretes did is that they carefully considered the actual letters in the Hebrew Bible. They didn't add or removed any letter from the scroll or from the text, because from a Hebrew perspective, every letter in the scroll is as important as it is. That's why Jesus said, no tittle or iota shall be removed from Torah. And it, in a sense, it is true for the whole Tanakh, that every letter that is in there has its place and has its right to be there. So when the Masoretes came with an introductory system for the vowels, they were carefully not to change any letters that were originally there. So the main system is considered of stripes, dots, and dots. And most of them, except for one or two, most of them are below the line. And the other two exceptions is the cholek, that is the O sound, it's above, and the kametz, it's the U sound, it's before, inside the vav. Is it the cholem vav? Let's see, the Yuklan, the shurek vav. So the shurek is we will see that in the video. But so the most of the letters are below the line, and two exceptions: the O, that is the cholem vav, is the cholem is above, and the U, the yuk sound, is inside the vav. That's the only two exceptions. So we will watch the video now, and when I will stop it. If you have any questions or want anything to explain, please raise your hand. You can do that by thumbs up or clapping something, or in the chat box. I think there's a possibility now. The participants, can you raise hand? What happens when you raise hand? No, I can't see it. Yeah. Yes, I see a thumbs up. Okay, let's share some video, and I will pause at certain times just to look if you're okay. Let's see if I can have everybody a little bit to the side, make some room. Oh, yes, I can see everybody now. Okay. This is a vowel introduction. And if you have printed out this form, it will be helpful because you will get the simplified chart. This, if you can see my video, it's a simplified chart. You can print it afterwards, or maybe you already have seen it. The simplified chart. Vowel systems.
Introduction. Originally written Hebrew had no vowels. The vowels were simply supplied by the reader as the text was read. Over time, however, a couple of systems, two main systems of writing Hebrew vowels developed. The first is known as historically long vowels, and this was a system that used a few consonants to mark vowels, especially at the ends of words, and then later in the middle as well. Much later, a system of writing vowels known as the Masoretic pointing system developed, and this was in response to the fact that people were starting to forget how to pronounce Hebrew because it was falling out of use. And when the Masoretes wrote their vowels, they didn't want to disturb the consonantal text. And so in order not to disturb it, they wrote their vowels for the most part underneath the consonants, sometimes in the middle, sometimes above. So let's look at these systems. The Masoretes, or not the Masoretes, the historically long vowels that developed first used three consonants: the He, the Yud, and the Vav. The He was used for A vowels, the Yud was used for EI vowels, and the Vav was used for OU vowels. Now let's draw some lines here. Let's draw another one here and here. What I'm drawing here is a chart. This is a chart that I got from my first Hebrew teacher. He got it from his teacher. I've found it to be very useful pedagogically, useful for reading, for pronouncing the vowels. In later modules, I'll talk about this in a more full way. I'll nuance this a bit, but for the purposes of reading, for pronouncing these vowels, this I found very useful. And let me put the vowels in now. We'll do it in a different color. So our vowels in Hebrew divide up into three groups. We have our A vowels that follow this mater here. These three consonants are called maters, or mater lectionis, when they are used as vowels. Mater means mother. Maters lectionis means mother of reading. And it was called that, it's a Latin term, it was called that because they assisted people in reading. So the Hebrew vowels, which divide up into three groups, as you see here: A vowels, IE vowels, OU vowels, they fall under the three main maters that the original historically long vowel system used. Now down here I'm going to write the Masoretic system. Remember, we have basically two systems. So the Masoretic system, I'll put the long vowels here, long tone vowels, and there's short tone vowels here. Long tone means it's long in terms of how you say it. The tone is long. Do not confuse that with historically long. When people say historically long vowels, what they're talking about are these consonants when they're used as vowels, the usage of consonants as vowels. Long tone simply is how you say it. So let's start with the first one.
Okay, everything clear for this point? Yeah? I take it over on my whiteboard just to make it clear for everybody. Here's my pen. Go away. To make it clear, a consonant is in Dutch een medeklinker. And a vowel is a klinker. And the vowels that are used in Hebrew are the A, the E, the I, the O, and the U. So it's a little bit different than in Dutch, but this is the main point. When I study the vowels, I use this symbol as a symbol for the consonant. And underneath it, you can write your vowel point. So these are consonants, these little brackets here, and these are vowel points that are used. So there's one exception. This is the O sound. And you have another U sound over here with the Vav. So you have the A sound over here, two symbols, a T and a line. You've got the E sound, two symbols. This is a U sound, an E sound, an A sound. This is an O sound, this is another U sound, and the other one, the I sound, is one single dot. So this is just to help you the vowels, most of them are below the consonant, except for two exceptions, the O and the U. But all of the rest of them are all written below a consonant. So when we have the word Adam, you get this. So you have the Aleph. When you transliterate it, you get the Aleph. Then you got the T sound. That's the A. So you have the A. Then you get the Dalet. Then you got another A. And then you got the Mem. And what is important to know, that you read like this. You come from right to left. You go down. You go to the next consonant. You look down. And you go to the next consonant. So it's like this. This is how you read the text with most of the consonants. The only two exceptions are the O sound and the U sound. When the letter has an O, like for instance, shalom, that's the change color. You read it, you come from this side, you go down, you go up again, and you go down. Because this is the O sound in shalom. Okay, this is just a short stop to make you understand that vowels are written below the consonants. The klinkers staan onder de medeklinkers. You read first the consonant and then you read the vowel that is below the consonant. And then you go to the next consonant. Now I go back to the video. It's still there. Hooray.
The first A vowel here is a kametz. And it looks like this, like a little T. It sits under the consonant. It's called a kametz. And it is pronounced A as in father. A as in father. The short A is a little line that sits under the consonant, and it's called a patach. And the short A is pronounced as an after or bat. Now in modern Hebrew this distinction isn't really maintained, it seems. I don't pronounce these any differently anymore. I say them both a, as in the Hebrew word pakad. Pakad has, the first vowel is the kametz, the second vowel is the patach. I pronounce them the same. When you're first learning Hebrew, it may be useful to pronounce them differently in order to distinguish the vowels for spelling purposes. That's up to you what you want to do there. But eventually, if you listen to modern Hebrew readings of the biblical text, it's going to blur. And in my experience, most teachers tend not to distinguish it anyway. So, those are our A vowels, kametz and patach. The E vowels are tzere and sagol. Our tzere is two dots. It's a long E, and it is pronounced A as in they, the English word they. And the short vowel, the sagol, is pronounced E as in bet. E as in bet. Now the tzere, up here, will sometimes have a yud with it. This is the yud. You can see the yud right here. The yud is there because it was put there originally to mark this vowel. So sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. In both cases, though, whether it is there or it isn't there, it's pronounced the same. They're both pronounced A as in they. If it is there, it's called a tzere yud. If it isn't there, it's just called a tzere. So let me put little brackets around here. The brackets are to remind us that it may or may not be there, but you still pronounce it the same way. Okay, let's go over to I vowels. The I, the long I, is the Hittite Yud, and it's written like this, Hittite Yud. And it is pronounced E as in machine, E as in machine. The short I is simply the Hittite. This was Hittite Yud, and this is Hittite. And it sits under the consonant. The consonant up here would sit over here for the Hittite Yud. For the Hittite, the consonant would sit here. The Hittite is short. The short I is pronounced I as in hit. So I as in hit for the Hittite, and E as in machine for the Hittite Yud. Those are our I vowels. Now let's move to our O vowels. O is called the holum, and it is a dot, and it, I believe, is the only dot that sits above the consonants. Yes, it's the only one. Holum. Now sometimes it'll have a vav. Oops, I drew that very straight. Let me repeat that. That's a little better. If it has the vav, it's called a holum vav. If it's without the vav, it's just the holum. So holum or holum vav. So I'm going to put little brackets around here, just like we did with the tzeda yud. Holum vav may or may not have the vav in terms of pronunciation. And it's pronounced O as in open. O as in open. Now the short O has this symbol. The same symbol as the comets. A different vowel though. Has the same symbol but a different vowel. And it is pronounced A as in on, and it's called the Kametz Hatuf. This is called the Kametz, and this is called the Kametz Hatuf. They look the same, but they're pronounced differently. In a later module, I'll go through the rules for how you distinguish these in reading. Okay, so those are the O vowels. Short O down here. The long U, you have your Vav and a dot next to it. This, I wrote that pretty straight too, didn't I? Well, it's a Vav with a dot next to it. It's pronounced U as in lure, and it's called the Shuduk. Short U is like this, 3 dots in a diagonal line, and it's called the Kibbutz, and it is the short U pronounced as in under or cup. So, here we have our long tone vowels, and here we have our short tone vowels. And our vowels divide up into 3 groups. We have our A vowels, our IE vowels, and our OU vowels. Now this dotted line is here, in these 2 cases here, because there are cases, there are times in Hebrew.
Okay, before I start to go to the next session, any questions from this side, from where we are now? We have long vowels and short vowels. Gaan in Dutch, or bol, it's a long A. And the petach is bal also, so there's no real distinguish between the long and the short A sound. The E sound is long in been or day, or ben or bet. So it's 2 dots is long, 3 dots is short. The I sound, machine or hit, has no distinction. The I sound long has a yud with it, and the I sound without a yud is short. The O sound, the vav, may accompany or not. So when the brackets are around the vav, it's either there or not. And the kametz chatuf, this little T over here, this one, you don't see that much. There are some instances where you can see it. as I remember it in the word chokma, wisdom, you have the kametz chatuf. You see, I have to study my chart to get the names right. But it's something when you get this, when you have understanding of how the vowel system works, then you can later on understand all the exceptions for tonic, for clemtone, and why not, and why vowels are left or whatever. So this is a basic lesson. I think it's best to put some time in it and to do some exercises to understand how the vowel system really works. Okay, then we continue the lesson.
When vowels will change, they'll lengthen or they'll shorten. Typically when you add an ending to a word, it makes it longer. Some may lengthen, some may shorten. There are other reasons why vowels lengthen and shorten. But when they do that, they tend to lengthen and shorten within their family. So it'll tend to go up and down here. This will reduce to this, or this will lengthen to that. These will tend to go up and down, but they don't mind going across this perforated boundary nearly as much as they do here. Sometimes you'll get lengthening and shortening across these bold boundaries that I've written here, but for the most part they'll stay within their little families here. So we have long tone, we have short tone, and we have some other vowels called half vowels or reduced vowels, and that's why I left a little bit of space here. The most reduced of all vowels is the shava, and I'm going to put it here. It doesn't really belong in the I vowel particularly. Anything can reduce to this, really, or any of these here anyway. Reduced to a shava. But I'll put it there just as a place to put it. The other half vowels, there are three other half vowels. This is not really a half vowel. This is just heavily reduced, shava. And it's just pronounced, it's a short sound, just a, you can hardly pronounce it. The other short vowels are, or half vowels, is this one. So basically you're taking a short vowel and you add a shava to it. It's called a chataf patach. So this is your patach, this is your chataf patach. This is your segol, this is your chataf segol, and this is your kametz hatuf, and this is your chataf kametz. Now the chataf kametz is a shortened version of the short O, not the long A. And all of these three, they're basically pronounced the same. There's not a lot of distinction here. They're so short that it loses its distinction. So those are our Hebrew vowels. Oh, there is no reduced or no half form for the U vowel, just for the other ones. If you have this chart in your mind as you read, you'll basically be able to pronounce all the vowels. I found it very useful that way.
Okay, hooray, this one is still present. Oh, there we are.
Ronald?
Ja?
Hij zegt dat je toch minder verschil hoort in die klanken van de klinkers. Maar is dat als Nederlander ook zo? Omdat wij natuurlijk wel veel korte en langere klanken kennen.
The question is if there are barely differences to understand when you speak the language in short and very short, or full, short and half. In Dutch we have that. We have the word been with a long E. We hebben bed, it's a bed. And we hebben begrepen. So we have these distances in how long the letter E is. Let me spell that. This is in Dutch. Been, that is leg in Dutch. It's a long E. That's why we have two. When we have ben, it's the name of a boy or a verb. I am. Or begrepen. So this is a half tone, half length, and this is long. So in Dutch we have the difference between long E, short E, and half E. So it's the same in the Hebrew when you have the tsere and you have the segol and you have the chataf segol. That's even shorter. I want to show you, that's why I was busy in my finders. I thought you couldn't see that. Let's have a look if I can find it now. Do you see this or not? No? Okay. Do you see it now? Okay. This is, can you read, who can read this? What's this word?
Elohim.
Elohim. Yeah. Let's have a look. Can I?
Staat er ook boven.
Ja. I know, Slimmerik. So this is the Chataf Patach. Oh. Sorry, Chataf Segol. Oh. Ah. Where's my, oh, there it is. I had lost it. The Chataf Segol. This is this one. Then, come on. This is the Chataf Segol. So it's an S sound. So it's not Elohim, or it's Elohim. It's a short sound. Then we see here, this is the letter O, and it is not the Cholam Vav, it's just the Cholam. It's over here, it's above the Lamed. So when you read it, you do, this has no sound, the Aleph has no sound, then you get the E sound, or the S sound, then you go to the Lamed, and then you go to the Cholem, then you go to the Hey, and now it's interesting, that's why I like this word. You see over here that this is the Chirek Yud, because the Yud and the dot underneath the Hey are together. This is one vowel. So it's not a consonant, it's a vowel. Normally, the Yud is a vowel. But in this case, this is not spelled as a Y, but it is spelled as an I, and I think like this. I'm not sure about that. When you transliterate it, this is one letter, this one. This is one letter. So you get Aleph, Lamed, Cholem, Hey, the Eid sound, the Cholem, or the Chirek Yud, and the Mem sound. So you get something like this, Aleph, then you got, there is a symbol for the A, but I've forgotten it. The symbol for the A, yes, is like this. Then the Lamed, then the O sound, it's an O with a dash on it, the Hey. Then you got the Tsere Yud, that is an I with an accent circumflex and an M. So this is how you transliterate the word Elohim. The Aleph, the Chataf Segol, the Lamed, the Cholem, the He. Then you got not the Yud, but it is a Chirek Yud. So the Yud is combined with the dot underneath the He. So it's not I Yud, it's just the I sound. And then the Mem. That's why you get Elohim. Not Elohim, but Elohim. A short and half short E sound. I hope this helped a little bit to understand the lesson.
Ik heb nog een vraag, Martin, hier.
Ja, Martin?
Hij beschrijft bij de U, de U, de laatste letter.
Ja?
Daar zei hij, daar had hij het, dat was niet echt het was, hij deed het als hij zei bijvoorbeeld het woord als cut. Of under. Maar
Ja.
is het of is het U?
The question is how to pronounce the U sound. And when we go to scripture, you can see the differences between. You do not often see the kibbutz in the text. It's not so common as the U sound with the vav.
Yeah.
So the long U is there, and the short U with the 3 dots is not so much there. It's there, but it's not as common as the long U. And there is in pronunciation not really a difference. It's like I said, lure and under, but you need to understand the language really when to pronounce the long U and when to pronounce the short U. You need to understand how the language, and we don't do that yet. So make it long.
Ja, okay, but it is an U and not an A.
It depends. It's under or lure. It depends on the word. And you need to know the context on the word and how it's originally pronounced. Sometimes it is long. And
Okay, but
sometimes
if it is short, then it's A and not.
Yeah. It's under. Under.
Okay.
Ronald, moet je ook al die woorden weten hoe ze heten? Of is het gewoon dat je weet wat het is?
It is helpful to understand what the words of the vowels are. Because later on, when there are exceptions, when we now have only the basic understanding of the letters, but let me take my whiteboard. Oh, go there. Normally, a normal Hebrew word is consistent of 3 consonants, as you might know. And underneath are the vowels, or they are above, or in the middle. So this is the basic root of any Hebrew word. Before it and after it come additional words. This is called prefix. For the word pre, it's before. And this is called suffix. And it's after. So, like the word haaretz, this is the, how do you say that, lidwoord in English? This is the particle, the earth. And there are rules considering what happens with these vowels when there is a particle or not, or when it's when it is tonic or not, wanneer er een klemtoon op ligt. Because all these rules change and you need to understand it. So you need to understand on which part of this word is the tone, the tonic, and haaretz. So that normally the accent is on the last part of the word. There are sometimes like Elohim, it's in the beginning. So it's then when it has an accent, the vowel will change. And all these rules will be coming forward in chapter 2 and later on. And then therefore it's sometimes helpful to understand what the names are of all these vowels. Because when he starts talking about it in the video, then he says, this betag becomes a kametz or whatever. So it's helpful to understand the language of all the vowels. So it's the basic understanding. I don't think you need to remember much, but the kametz is important. The betag is important. The tsere and the segol. The girek, and that's the same. The golem and the kametz. The shurek and the kibbutz. The A sound, the E sound, the I sound, the O sound, and the U sound. Kametz en patag, the A, tsere en segol, the E, girek is the I, golem en kametz is the O, shurech en kibbutz is the U. But as we continue, you will learn. I need to remember them also because I need my paper. Or how was this thing called? And that there are shortened versions, Gataf Patach and Gataf Segol and Shiva. It will continue, but these are the main ones. Oh, where's my mouse? This is long. This is short. All the information is on the vowel chart. There is a vowel chart in the folder. You can print it out and it's there. Look, I can do the same. Hurrah. I get an artist in this. Yeah. I did it. All right, guys. Now we go to the second page of the vowel chart, and that is the full chart. We just discussed the simplified chart, this one. And now on the other page, lesson 2 is the full chart.
Vowels, full chart. Okay, this is a continuation of the Introduction to Vowels module. And we need to give a little fuller discussion than we did in that module. This is the screen we ended up with at the end of the vowels introduction. And this was the chart that I recommended that you have in your mind as you read. It's pedagogically useful for reading. But we need to change it a little bit. Now, just as a reminder, we have long tone vowels here, short tone, half or reduced vowels here. These two rows are fine. What we need to do is we need to split this row into 2 rows. And the challenge here is going to be to get this to all fit on one screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of these guys. I guess I can just click them. Ugh, it's easier to do it this way. You know what they are anyway. And let's go back to our yellow color. I had said these were long tone vowels. Technically that's not true, because if there is a mater, it's not a long tone vowel, it's a historically long vowel. So let us split this up into the tsere. We'll put the tsere yod up there, and get rid of him. So we have the tsere yod here and the tsere here now. So this is our historically long vowel, and this is our long tone vowel. They're pronounced the same though, which is what the other chart showed us. So tsere yod and yod. Likewise, we'll rewrite our hidik yod up here, and we'll get rid of this guy. So now we have hidik yod as our historically long vowel, and hidik as our long tone vowel. Likewise, we'll do our holam vav up here, and we'll get rid of this guy. And we'll do the same here. This we have to get rid of both of them and rewrite them. So our shidduch goes up here because it has the mater, and down here we stay with the kibbutz. So these two columns are the same, or these two rows are the same, like I said. Here we have our long tone vowels. Here we have our historically long vowels. And there's one here I didn't add. The hey, kametz hey. This is our historically long a. This one only occurs at the end of words. The rest of these can be elsewhere. Now, what do you want to say about these? Let's note a couple things. What you see here is that there's a hidik, a long tone hidik and a short tone hidik. And there's a long tone shuduk and a short tone shuduk. For reading purposes, for the most part, read it as short. The rule is that you should read it as short unless it is in a open syllable or a stressed syllable. Then you read it as long. We'll talk about syllables in a later module.
Oh, sorry. I did something wrong. Sorry. I go a little bit back. I just wanted to stop the video. Sorry, guys. You still see the video now? Okay. Oh. This is what you essentially asked, Martin. The question is how to pronounce the U sound, the kibbutz. His advice is to make it short unless otherwise explained. You know, in English, the word syllable, you know what syllable means? Lettergreep.
Yeah, yeah.
So we will continue. That's in lesson 2.7. We're not going there, but we have in Hebrew there are open syllables and there are closed syllables. Closed syllables start and end with a consonant. Open syllables start with a consonant and end with a vowel. That's called an open. So should I write it down? because I think he talks about it in this little bit. Let's have a look at it. You have open, syllable, and closed syllable. A closed syllable is a consonant, a vowel, and a consonant. An open syllable is a consonant and a vowel. For instance, me, or in English who, this is open and this is closed. Set. Shed and do I say it correctly? Yeah, shed and me. That's to understand what he's saying, that closed and open. And go back to the video.
Later module. But for reading, if you follow the other chart, you'll be fine. The value of this, well, the value is that it's more correct, but transliteration is really is important here. So let's look at how you transliterate all these Hebrew vowels. Let's start with the short vowels because they're the baseline, really. So the patach is transliterated as a. I'm going to actually make a little thinner line here so I can fit it in these little spaces a little better. So A is how you transliterate a patach. Sagol is E, Hidik is I, Kametz Hatuf is O, remember this is the short O, and Shuduk is U. So the transliteration of these short vowels is simple. It's A, E, I, O, U. Now the reduced ones, we may as well go down there first. They are the same thing with a little, I'm not sure what they call it, a brev or a breve, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. This upside down curved thing. That's how you mark these. So it's the same letter as above as the one it's reduced from. I'll skip this for a second. O with a little U on it, a little cup, and this one has nothing. And now the Shava can be done like this. You leave the dot off, and you put a little cup just like that. So that corresponds to these ones. Sometimes
he makes a mistake.
It is also transliterated with a raised E, just a small raised E, slightly higher than the baseline. So, if you remember, these little cups mean reduced. Small little cup means reduced to half vowel. If there's no mark on if there's no diacritical mark on the transliterated letter, then it's just a plain old short tone. Now the long tone uses the same letters, but we add a macron, which is a line on top. So, looks like this. Patach is just a straight A. Kametz is A with a macron. Likewise, this will have a macron. Sagol is just a straight E. Tsere is E with a macron. Now, do we put the... I guess we drop the dot when we do this. It didn't show up very well, did it? So I with a macron is our long Hittite. Our short Hittite is the regular English I. And Holem, O with the macron, as opposed to O for the Kametz Hatuf. And the long kibbutz would be like this. U with a macron, as opposed to simply a U. So long tone vowels take a macron. Now historically long vowels take a circumflex. Where am I going to put this here? It's just where I can find a spot, eh? So A with a circumflex. Likewise E with a circumflex. And I with a circumflex. And O with a circumflex. And U with a circumflex. So this chart really helps for transliteration. Short tone is just your basic letter. Reduced or half have this little cup. Long tone has the macron, the horizontal line on top, and the historically long vowels have the circumflex. Now another one of my teachers came up with a really what I thought was a quite clever little way to remember that the circumflex goes on the one with the historically long vowel. Historically long vowels, if you remember, are the ones that have the maters. These are all have the maters, these consonants, right? And mater means mother. So this looks a bit like the roof of a house. So if you see the roof of the house, then you know the mother is in the house. The mater is in the house. So the circumflex goes with the maters. If that helps you, that's great. So that's how you transliterate vowels in Hebrew, and this chart, as opposed to the previous simplified chart, shows the distinction between true historical long vowels and long tone vowels.
Yeah. Right. My wife is in the corner. Be aware of the time. I already had that in my mind. I want to share now to have a look at something practical, so you can see what we are really doing. Let's share this. A very familiar text that we will see many times. Now you can understand what we did in the class Living Letters. This is Genesis 1:1. And now you can understand, you see the B. Can I annotate? Yes, I can. Make it red and draw like this. Yeah. You see the B. This is combined with this symbol, the Sheva. The Sheva is B. So it's not Bereshit, it's Bereshit. You almost swallow the letter in your mouth. Bereshit, Bereshit. So it's not Bereshit or Bereshit, it's Bereshit. The E sound is there, but it's very short. Now it's getting interesting. Watch this. Go back because it will be disturbing. This double pointed is a tsere. You see, I have to look with my chart. A tsere. And we learned that a tsere, double point, is transliterated as a normal E. So why is there a rooftop? A rooftop on the E here. Why is there a rooftop?
Because of the Aleph.
Because of the Aleph. because he didn't talk about this, but there are three mother letters he discussed, the He, the Yud, and the Vav, but the Aleph can also carry a vowel. So that is why I can see if, can I make it bigger now? Try to make it bigger so you can see it. You see the rooftop over here? So that means that the tsere is carried by a mother, and the mother in this instance is the Aleph. The Aleph and the tsere are now one vowel. That is why you do not see be, and then the resh, sorry, the resh, and the comma. You don't see the comma over here because the Aleph is not a comma. The Aleph is connected to the E sound. The next letter is the shin over here with the dot on the right side. And again, you see the I with its accent circumflex. So it's connected with the Yud. This is one vowel. The Yud and the dot are one vowel. And this other thing here, this half bow, a quarter bow, and over here in Elohim, and over here, and over here, are markers for pronunciation. So that has nothing to do with transliterating or reading the text. These markers are for pronunciation purposes. So we have the word Bereshit, and this is a transliteration of this word. Bereshit, not Bereshit or Bereshit, it's Bereshit. The E sound is in your mouth, and you can see this of this Sheva. This very short E sound. The next one is Bara, and we see there is a line, a macron on top of the A. That means that it is long. So it is, when you pronounce it, Ba-ra. Ba-ra. Then we have the word Elohim. And you see here the comma for the Aleph. And then the E sound with the upside down circumflex. And that is this combination. I will make it bigger. The Chataf Segol. This is better. So it's a Chataf Segol. This is the E with the upside down circumflex.
Ronald,
Ja,
waarom staat er bij die bara 2 T's onder die eerste letter?
I haven't got a clue. I don't know. I don't know why there are, and that's not a T, it's a Kametz. I was sincerely hoping nobody would see that.
It's missing also underneath the resh.
Yeah. Maybe it's from the resh. Yeah. But because of the accent, the pronunciation, it's a little bit to the side. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason. But you're too sharp, Leonard. Too sharp for me. Where was I? You see here Elo, the Golem, and it's connected to the Lamed. When you write a Golem, you write it normally on the top left side of the consonant. When you have the consonant, you write the column top left. So there is one letter which will cause trouble. Which letter causes trouble when you put the column above on the top left? Yeah.
De sin.
The sin or the shin. This could mean show because of the shin on the right side. So this is the column, show. But what is this? This is so. Because you don't put double dots, you have just one dot. That will be discussed later. But this is something to remember, that normally, like I said, this is normal for 21 of the letters. You put the column, or the column on the left side of the consonant. Only with the shin you can get a trouble, and with the vav it is in the middle, but it's because it's the vav. And in the noon it's also over here, a little bit to the left, but the vav it's in the middle. So you have to pay attention to this little dot at Elohim, because when you go back to normal text you can't see it almost. Well, you can study this later because it's already 9:15. Here we have the Aleph and the Tzere, and the Tzere is here. It's very strange. It's covered by, it's the Aleph A because it's at the beginning of a word. When we had in the Bereshit, in the middle of the word, you don't see the comma over here. Oh, wrong color. You don't see the comma over here. There is no comma over here. But when it begins with an Aleph, you have the comma and then the E sound combined with the Aleph. And then the T sound without the Dagesh Lene. There's no dot in here. Hashamayim, Ve'et. You see also here these two dots. Yeshua, Ve'et, Haaretz. Haaretz. Okay, now we can understand this line. This is the transliteration of the Hebrew text. Now we can translate, and this will be the exercises, these kind of words fully. So just not only the consonants, because when you transliterated this in exercise 1, you get a W, a comma, and a T with a line under it. But it's not complete because 2 vowels are missing. So now we're learning to completely transliterate all these words. And this will be an exercise. And maybe next week we will just repeat this lesson so we get a basic and good understanding of the vowels. The vowels are important to understand, how to write them and how the differences are there. So to recap. Oh. This lesson was about consonants and vowels. Most of the vowels are written below the consonants. 2 exceptions, the O sound and the U sound. You read from right to left, right, down, up, down, up, down. That is the normal way to read a text. Next. There is a different pronunciation, a long E, a short E, and a half E. The basis of any verb or noun are three letters. Something is put behind it and something is put in front of it, and that will change the system of vowels. That is something we learn, but you need to know that the vowels will change when something is put in front of it or put behind it. The question from Georgine about, do I need to remember it? It's my advice to learn them, but it takes time. You can see it from me. It takes time for me too. Every time I have to look at my chart to what is the letter and how is it spelled. So Kametz and Petach is the A sound. Tsere and Segol is the E sound. Girek is the I sound. Note the I in Girek and the E in Tsere. The Petach and the Kametz. Long, Kametz is long, Petach is short. Golem, the O sound. This is where a weird exception. And the Shurek, the U sound and the U sound, the kibbutz. We have open and closed syllables. So well, that was it for tonight. Very important lesson. And I think we will repeat it just to get into it. The next week we do the same videos, both of them, just to understand and get the basis right. When you're fundamental, know how to write the letters and know the vowels, and you can get a long way when you read in Bible Hub the interlinear. You now start to recognize what is all these weird symbols are, and that you can learn how to pronounce them. Long, short, half short. Okay? Well, thank you very much. Yeah.
Ronald, welke hoofdstukken zijn dat in dit boek?
Chapter 2, lesson 2. We've just done paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, 3.1, 3.2, and 2.4.
Okay.
Yeah, we stopped at 2.4. So defective writing and full writing we didn't do.
Okay.
And I made a copy. So for those who tuned in later, when you have the red book, the answers for the red book are in one of the folders of the Dropbox called Oefeningen Hebreeuwse letters, exercise Hebrew letters. The answers are there. So you practice and then you look at the answer, like any teacher would tell you. Hè, Barend? Okay, guys, bless you. Try to print out these forms. They are available at the chapter. And the answers are also there for the exercises in the book. At the end. This one is an exercise to transliterate. This has the consonants and the vowels, so you can practice. It's paragraph 210. The answers are also in the folder, but you can try to translate. If you get a hang of it, just do it. We do it too because it's long, it's way back. I need to repeat myself. So we are busy doing it. We have also found some Dutch exercises and Dutch explanations. If you want them, I can make some copies of that also and put them in the folder in Dutch. Yeah. All right, guys. Shalom. God bless you. See you next week. Yes, the answers are in the folder. The answers are in the folder. Just to show for Amanda, she asked it, where are they? Let's see. No. Where are you? Let's go to the right folder. Share screen. Look, Amanda, this is the folder we have shared, Animated Hebrew, chapter 1. In this folder, you find all the 6 videos. You find the song. This is a copy of the book for those who don't have the book, and these are the answer keys. So you see, Introduction, Biblical Hebrew, paragraph 1.8, homework key. So this is the answer sheet.
Right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And
Thank
for chapter 2, it's also there. The videos, the text for those who don't have the book. The vowel chart is there. And this is the answer sheet. You see, this is the answer sheet, how to write them out.
Yeah, really good. Thank you.
Now, can you see that?
Yes.
Do you see this?
Mm-hmm.
It's bigger, so don't peek at it. First try it.
Got you.
Okay. God bless you all.
God
Bye
bless
bye.
you. Well, thank you.